Ah, yes, very good. It's a book. It's full of information.
What book? I don't know what you're talking about. All I see is a blur on my screen.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a surprise Paizo Live. And by surprise, I mean we kind of announced like a few days ago. But it's new. We're here to talk about Starfinder. Hello, everyone. My name is Thurston Hillman. I will be your master of ceremonies for the two of us who are here. I am the associate publisher here at Paizo. And joining me to talk about all of the things Starfinder that we are excited to announce is...
Hi, I'm Jenny Jarzabski. Some of you probably remember me as senior developer on the Starfinder team, but I'm now creative manager on the Starfinder team. So I am, much as Thurston has stepped up to take on some other responsibilities as associate publisher at Paizo, I am stepping up to take on more responsibilities on the Starfinder team. But don't worry, Thirsty is still here and a valid part of Team Star Friends. Do not worry. We need him.
I see it in chat. I'm no longer John Starfinder.
Thank you. You have a Jane or Jenny Starfinder now, I guess?
Yeah, we have Jenny Starfinder. I'm more like Ted Paizo, I guess.
John Paizo.
I can't even be John Paizo. That's Eric's role.
Oh,
so,
you're right.
Hello, everybody. We are here to talk about a bunch of stuff. First of all, again, a big round of applause for Jenny for just recently taking on the creative manager position here at Paizo for Starfinder and really sort of leading Starfinder into its new edition. Jenny was a huge part of the entire second edition project that's still ongoing, to be honest. We are very excited here about that. And digital claps for Jenny. Thank you all. But let's dive into a few things. Because we got a lot to cover. We have a lot to cover, don't we? There's a lot.
Yeah, we've been a little bit busy, just a little busy bit.
Just in the minds, in the word minds. All right. So first of all, we talked about earlier on for Starfinder second edition that we would be doing a playtest early this year. Due to a whole bunch of products all releasing at once and us needing to work on those projects, some of that has slipped. We are looking in the next few months to be releasing a playtest that will include the new Mechanic and Technomancer class. It's still our goal. In fact, we've had some pretty recent playtests that I had the pleasure of GMing for the Starfinder crew. Some of my tendrils leaving the team as Jenny takes over. I got to run a couple games. Our last one was particularly interesting. We sure did have some fun things happen. I maybe got to take a free RPG day creature from last year's free RPG day and a glass serpent and beat up some technomancers and mechanics with it. We will have more on that coming, but I will say that the design and work on those classes has been really interesting. One of the things that I will throw out as a spoiler that's not even on our docket, but I'm just gonna do it because I have power. See, that's what being the associate publisher means. I just have not unlimited. If Eric's watching, I know you have more power than me, but I do have power to say some fun things. And one of the fun things I found in our last playtest was seeing what happens when you have a mechanic who has a turret and what that turret can do. That was pretty cool. And then seeing the Technomancer overclock spells and having a spell cache that did some pretty unique things.
Not just casting another spell, which is always useful, but cool, just beyond that.
Putting something into your spell cache and then modifying it. This is pretty neat. It's pretty neat. We're cooking. We're cooking, everybody.
We're have cooking, some everybody. Cool ideas, and we're gonna share this with you. It's gonna be pretty soon. We're still got spring on target to bring you a play test of those classes.
Yeah. So with that being said, all right, let's talk about some products. First of all, let's talk about the first of our books that's going to be coming out, the Galaxy Guide. Oh, here's the cover for Galaxy Guide.
It's so cool.
By Mirko. Yeah, this is great. This so Jenny, do you want to give us the overview of Galaxy Guide and what kind of product this is?
Yeah, so Galaxy Guide is kind of it's a setting guide. So if you think about Pathfinder in terms of Lost Omens, just more lore focused, it's got that, but it's got so much more than just a tour of our galaxy and our setting. it has some playable rules. It has 6 new ancestries, all playable, of course, which are all major. Remember, we've said from the beginning, we really care about that cantina feeling in Starfinder, and it just continually releasing new ancestries that you can play as cool, weird aliens. That is a goal. So this book furthers that goal. We also have 6 new archetypes, which are all tied to major factions in the galaxy. So like Hell Knights, Starfinder Society, all the big bads and allies that and characters that you've played throughout your time as like Starfinders. And if you're Pathfinder players, you'll recognize some factions too, because there's quite a few, like the Hell Knights, that continue on into the space age. So we've got that, and just tons of new backgrounds to connect characters in to our setting. It's also kind of innovative the way we decided to structure the book, because instead of just presenting a physical geographical tour of here, we're just going to go like, you know, like in the core rulebook, like let's go from the starting with first planet from the sun and go on out. We've presented our setting in kind of more thematic terms. So we looked at the types of adventures that we think Starfinder campaigns are really good about telling. And we recognize that campaigns can be more than one type of thing. Like some campaigns are horror adventures, but they're also like exploration adventures where you're exploring some creepy unknown out in the void. And there's also like these shadowy terrors that are coming out at night to terrorize your space station. You know, there might be more than one theme. But we identified just some major adventure types that we think we know people are using Starfinder for.
Can I list them off? Can I list them off? I've got the PDF right here. I can list them off. I can list them off. So the adventure section of this, which really is sort of the setting overview, is broken down into dystopian, high-tech, fantasy, war-torn, into the unknown, horror, and weird. And in each of those sections, you're going to see different like areas of the campaign, some old, some entirely new. You know, if you're curious, hey, we've never seen Golgothu in Starfinder. Oh, we got you covered. Eox. I love Eox and like that sort of stuff. Oh, well, that fits in horror adventures. You know, it wouldn't be a product that I touched without having the Prophets of Callistrade. So I have a whole section in there on Callistocrat mausoleum ships. This book has a lot, and it is a lot of seeds.
Maybe you like high fantasy though, and you're like, okay, but what about my space elves and like dragon riders? And we've got you covered there too, because there's like a little look into like Castrovel and Triaxis and some other places in the galaxy that are like really fantasy forward or tech forward. So yeah, we're hoping this can be like a GM and player playground. And also because it's kind of a teaser for you, we're releasing it right before the core launch. We're hoping that's also just kind of like the bridge for people coming on board from Pathfinder. Like, all right, here's your setting, like get to learn it. And now we're going to be releasing, you know, more of those rules for you.
Yeah, and we would be remiss to not mention one other thing that exists in here that I cannot wait for people to see, and that is the poster map.
Oh yeah, how can we forget that? That's so good.
The poster map done by Kyle Hunter, our one of our art directors here in the head art director for Starfinder, is a like I cannot explain it. It is the most gorgeous thing I have seen in ages. It is a very different way of representing the galaxy. One side of it represents the Pact Worlds. One side represents the entire Starfinder galaxy. It's presented in a very different way. We are not showing it on screen just yet, but it is coming. And I will say that it is probably, like, for me, one of the more exciting things in this book, just outside of all the rules elements and the backgrounds, and just as Jenny said, this is the book that if you're interested in Starfinder, this book is like the world guide equivalent. It's the book that you can build a character from, get the character concept.
Build
it's
a
the book that as a GM
from.
You can find a campaign, and it's also something we've talked about internally. It's like a bunch of promissory notes from the team of things that we sure want to hit on a roadmap and sure want to do stuff with. A lot of the things in there will get some follow-up very shortly thereafter. Some of them may be a bit longer, but these are all of kind of the highlights of things we want to hit on in the book. So I'm really excited. Jenny was the lead on this book. It has the claw tendril footprint blueprints of essentially, no, it does have everyone on the Starfinder team contributed in one way or another. In fact, everyone on the Starfinder team was authors for this book because there's just so much stuff we wanted to put into the setting. So again, that's going to come out in May. It's going to be a kind of lead in. It's going to have some rules and some mechanics and things. And you might be thinking, but how can we use them if we don't have a player book? Well, you can also use them in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, because remember, we're shooting for the stars this year, and these game engines are fully compatible. So those ancestries we mentioned, you can port them right into your Pathfinder games if you want to get started with that, or you can wait just a few months after, just like 2-3-ish months after, and then you know what we have for you. Oh, let's show the cover of what we have for you. That's right, Starfinder Player Core. This cover is done by our internal concept artist, Kent Hamilton. Here on the cover, you can see 3 of our iconics: the iconic Mystic, the iconic Solarian, and the iconic Envoy, battling against a dragon. This is the Akashic Dragon. It's a new type of dragon that you will see in some of our future books. I should also point out the thing of horrifying light on the cover of Galaxy Guide that we had up last. That thing was called an Illamantula. Yeah, that's the thing. That's called an Illamantula. I know it because I wrote it, and it's like CR creature level like 20 plus. Good luck, everybody. You're gonna need it. All right, but back to Player Core. This is what the team has really been working towards. This is a standalone book that is, very similar to the Pathfinder Player Core, in that it has all of the rules to play the game. You do not need a Pathfinder book to play Starfinder. This will have everything you need in it to build characters. If you're familiar with Pathfinder, there's going to be some sections that are basically the same because we want to make sure these games are fully compatible. But that's not to say this doesn't have new stuff. This is chock full of 6 new classes, 10 ancestries. We have new skills that are part of this. We've already tested computers and piloting. We have new feats, spells, backgrounds, the whole 9 yards, new conditions, everything. There's versatile heritages in here. We have a lot in here, don't we, Jenny?
We do. Yeah, there's definitely a lot. I think we have some art previews too for this one that we haven't shown.
Yeah, we have not shown any art. Oh, here we go.
No, we haven't shown any art from here. So, so mentioning new spells. I guess we could do some little spoilers here. So this is an illustration of a spell called Phantasmal Fleet, which I believe was in the play test. But here's an illustration of Zamir casting, or some iteration of Zamir casting that spell.
Forth the Phantasmal Fleet.
Yeah, so basically he can call, illusory ships down to send an orbital strike on his enemies magically. And, if they believe that, kind of like, the Phantasmal Killer, Phantasmal, etc. spells that we were inspired by from Pathfinder, it functions similarly, but it's all cool and space themed. So.
And you take mental damage from them, and you must take cover because the fleet will destroy you. It's not real, but it can hurt you.
But you think it's gonna get you, exactly.
That's right. I think we have another good piece of art to show here. Oh, look at this! This is just some of the fun art that you're gonna see in the book.
Oh, yeah. This one is cute. Yeah, this one was kind of, we wanted to order a reprise for the art everybody loves, and you've probably all seen of a bunch of Skittermanders playing at a game table while a Vesk is face palming in the GM seat, essentially. And so we're like, well, what if we had that, the opposite situation, and we have some Vesk, very intently playing while this very excitable Skitter GM is presenting the game. So we have that, this is just some fun art. You can see a little friend hanging in there on the pipes too, or maybe that's some graffiti on Absalom Station. There's just chock full of more art to just get you into the setting and vibe of Starfinder in this book too. It's been really a pleasure to see the art coming back for all of the stuff we've been designing.
Okay, we have one more. We have one more.
Another one? Okay.
Yeah, we got one more art piece. All right, let's. Okay, It would not be a book that I would have done
yeah.
if we didn't insert some ginsels.
She's like, we got to put ginsels in there.
It needs more ginsels. So here you see the chitinous species. The ginsels, our iconics, our Solarian, and our Mystic are battling against some ginsels here. This type of stuff is just the art I live for. Like, it showcases the setting, it showcases villains. This is also where there's just history. Like in this picture, you see we have our new iconic day. We have Chick, who's a new iconic, but is also an iconic that has history from first edition. The ginsels were a big threat in first edition, but like didn't actually show up until Alien Archive 3. But now they're in the core book. It's the game is growing up, everybody. And we're just so excited. And this art and like this book is just an expression of that. Now this book here is going to be releasing along with all of our slew of Gen Con products for this summer in August. But there's more coming after that. Let's talk about a couple things we've alluded to, hinted at. Let's talk about GM Core. We've shown this art. We actually showed this last Gen Con. This is the cover art for GM Core. Again, done by Kent Hamilton. You'll notice that Kent is doing a lot of our cover arts for the core books. GM Core, and on the cover of this one, we see the intense Ishmerai Ophir, the new leader of the Aslanti Star Empire, possibly with some bodies by a throne, which he maybe executed in order to take that throne. This book is another key component to sort of the Starfinder launch. It's going to release shortly after Player Core, I believe, 2 months later. This book is going to have all the expanded rules. This is going to have things that you know and love from Pathfinder GM Core, how to build creatures, how to build hazards, but it's going to give you a lot more information from a Starfinder perspective, talking about things like how to balance creatures if everyone has gun. That's an important part of our game, and we've had our adventure designers go through, and adventure writers go through, and really give some feedback on like how to design differently for this game than say Pathfinder. A lot of the math is going to look the same, but there's going to be some differences there. But that's not all. We're going to have massive setting information. This is where you're going to get those sort of deep dives on each of the Pact World planets, some of the key setting locations outside of the Galaxy Guide presentation. These are more of the overall overviews of some of these worlds. There's also some cool new rules in here. There's things that don't exist in Pathfinder. Jenny?
Yeah, so this is the book for dynamic hacking rules, which is something that we did have in Starfinder First Edition as well, but obviously this is a second edition version of that. So if you want to, as a GM, do more than just one single check, if you want to have like the reboot campaign, there's a deep cut for the 90s kids out there and 2000s kids, but like, or if you just want to be like, this is where they go into virtual reality and they are their avatars hacking the computer, and it's more than just we're hacking the digital lock. Those are the variant rules you can use. We have other variant rules too. That's where we've got our cinematic starship encounters. I saw a comment in chat about starship rules, and while we are still cooking on the full tactical rule system, we do have a very usable and very fun system in this book for cinematic starship encounters that, without spoiling too much, can I give a little bit about it, or do we want to?
You know what? This is
like break into that a little bit.
This is a time. Yeah, let's rip off the Band-Aid.
Pop open the bottle. And talk about it.
Let's talk a little bit about cinematic starship scenes and how they play into this book.
Yeah, because we didn't grab a whole lot of art spoilers, so we can make up for it by spoiling you a little bit with content here. So
got you. This is a new subsystem that you're going to find in the book. What cinematic starship scenes are meant to be is not the party who has their beloved starship and they are building their starship and they're putting their modules in their starship and all of that, and the sort of Build-A-Bear that we had in Starfinder First Edition. That is a rule set that we really want to focus on and make sure that we are doing the best job we can. It's not going to be in GM Core. We're still cooking. Trust me, we're cooking. But cinematic starship scenes are, I would say they're akin in many ways to stat blocks you've seen, like complex hazards. They are a way for us to present scenes in settings that scenes in adventures, I should say, that require a starship. But maybe you don't want the party to pull out the tactical hex map or things like that. You know, oh, we're going through the asteroid field. How do we do that? Or oh, we've got to escape the Nova sun, but while also scanning it. It brings together a lot of the sort of subsystem mechanics that existed, kind of changes them up and presents a way of just giving players here is your starship, here is enemy threats that are involved, and a threat could be anything. So
could be like asteroid field, could be enemy fighters dispatched from a carrier, could be like space whale with a laser mounted to it. I don't know. Anything.
And one of the ways that I think you're going to see this be used a lot is, say, for example, something like organized play or adventure paths, where maybe there isn't an assumption that the players have a starship of their own. And we will have adventures where that's the case. They'll have their beloved starship. But maybe there's an adventure where you're just like on this shuttle, or you're borrowing this starship and we need to get through this encounter. A great example of that is organized play, where a lot of times players are taking existing ships. They might not have their own. This system lets us include those encounters in a quick, easy to grok way that doesn't take the players out of the core game that they're playing. It's still going to use the same rules. You're still going to be making dice checks and skill checks for your character, doing actions for your character. So we're really excited about that. This is all in GM Core, and that's not to mention tips for running your time traveling adventures. There's a whole section called Anachronistic Adventures, where we talk about things like what happens when you bring Pathfinder stuff into your Starfinder, or Starfinder into your Pathfinder. Vehicles, hazards, setting material, GM tips. This book has it all. It's the way to GM your games. Now, you don't need GM Core to play your game. You're going to want it because it's going to give you the tools. One of the things that's a bit different than, say, us and the Pathfinder player core is a lot of, like, we don't have any of the equipment in here. It's all in player core. But this book is going to be useful for your GMs who are running games, who need to make things, who need some of those numbers on the fly. But we're really keen on having this be a book that's going to give you the tools that you need for your games. So that's pretty cool, right? It's pretty hype. We're hyping. Okay, so let's move on to something we don't have an art reveal for, but we're gonna like formally announce it here. It's kind of like it's an obvious thing, but like let's just get it out of the way, everybody. We're giving you all the secrets here. Shortly after GM Core, near the end of the year, we will be releasing Alien Core. You can probably guess what that book is about. It's our Monster Core equivalent book that will have all the creatures from levels, -1 all the way up to 25. I wrote the 25 one. Smiles. It's there. That and the Illamantula, they're coming for you.
Yeah.
This book is another one we're so excited. We're not showing much on it yet, but this is where you're going to get your creatures. Now this means that our Alien book is coming out a bit after the release of some of these other books. And what that means is that the other stuff that we're doing, we're going to have to put Alien stat blocks and stuff in them. So anything that releases before Alien Core, don't worry, we're going to have full creature stat blocks. We're not going to give you an adventure and then be like, oh, by the way, wait 2 months to play this. Don't worry, that's not happening. No. Which, oh gosh, I buried the lead.
Of adventures, right?
The lead, right? Oh, adventures. We haven't talked about adventures. Oh, look at this one. Oh.
We sure need adventures if we're going to have a game.
We sure do.
I love that art. That's so good. Here it is, everybody. Murder in Metal City. This is our deluxe Starfinder adventure in a box. We'll talk in just a second about what makes that deluxe, what we mean by that.
It's in a box.
It's in a box. Yeah, I mean, you're getting a box. What more do you want? It's a cool box. But don't worry, there's stuff in the box, not just the adventure.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. You said okay in a really definitive way. So please segue us.
Okay. Because I'm seeing it in chat. And I need to stop it. Okay, people are asking, is this a beginner box? No. This is
No,
not
it's
a
not.
beginner box. This is a deluxe adventure. So this book you will want to pick up alongside your player core, alongside our slew of release products for the game. Heck, you might even want Galaxy Guide to give you some context on this sucker. Murder in Metal City is something we're trying that's a bit different. This is an adventure. It is a deluxe adventure. And what does that mean? Well, it's a box set that includes a variety of handouts, tokens, cards, pre-generated characters. There's
flip mats. There's also like some GM tools. Like there's a GM tracker. Primarily, this is a murder mystery at its core. So there are some GM tools to help with tracking, investigation, like clues, and just kind of where the plot is at. Because anybody who's tried to run like a mystery type or intrigue adventure or read one has been like, wow, that's a lot to keep track of sometimes. So we kind of wanted to have the GM covered. That's part of what makes it premium as well. Did you mention the pre-gens? We have there's pre-made characters that they all get their own art. You can see two of them of their lovely faces on the cover. These characters are all specifically designed for this adventure. Now, you can play your own characters. You do not have to play them, but these are characters to either just give you inspiration or for a group that wants to try it out and doesn't want to commit to dealing with character creation on the first session. That is an option for you.
Okay, I see a good question in chat here. I'm gonna answer it. What's the level range for this? So one of the things about being a deluxe adventure is we get to experiment with something we've never done before. This is inside this box, you'll find a 64-page adventure, similar to ones we've done in the past. The entire adventure takes place at first level. This is a deluxe experience where you come in, you can give your friends their characters. Your friends never need to sit down and level up their characters. Part of the process of playing this, they can play through it, get a sense of the game at first level, really have a catered experience that's going to just take place at first level. I certainly in my life have maybe dealt with some groups where there are players who leveling up their character is a terrifying thing and they just want to play the game. This is for that. This is the let's give you this deluxe taste intro to Starfinder. Oh, you want to do more? Don't worry, we'll have you covered later. But this is really to give you that luxe experience with handouts, with maps. There's a flip map in this thing too. This is very, very, very much a sort of deluxe experience, but not a beginner box experience. We're not doing the sort of here's the rules on how to play the game. You're still going to need player core for that. This is a premium experience for newer players, but that's not just like a beginner box style. It is here's a real adventure that we have sort of amped up to 11 on a lot of things. Will there be society ways to play it? We're certainly going to talk about that more. However, what I will say is that one of the cool things of us doing a bunch of pre-gens as part of this box is it sure might give us more pre-gens that we can have made available in society at launch, which is another fun thing here. So again, oh, and look, here's one of them. Look at this. Look at this pre-gen.
Yeah.
Look at this pre-gen. Oh, this is another spoiler.
We actually had Mike, who was lead developer on this project, actually played this pre-gen in one of our recent play tests because he just loves this pre-gen. So there's some other stuff too. It's not just like the pre-gens. There's also there is a playable ancestry. There is Khazar, which is what you see right here. These plant people that are originally from Castrovel, but have kind of, migrated throughout the galaxy and the Pact Worlds especially. And that might be a good time to talk a little about the kind of setting and vibes of the adventure too, if you want to get into that. So we mentioned that, Murder in Metal City, it is a murder mystery, as it says on the tin. That's the murder part. The Metal City part is that this occurs in Striving, which is a metal mega city on Avalon. So this is the planet of the machines where anicytes who were left by their progenitors, the first ones, very mysterious society, culture, species. Nobody really knows, actually. They left them there to just kind of labor forever and upgrade themselves and reckon with what their place in life is, I guess, like all of us. And they've built this enormous metal city. And oh no, one of them has been tragically prematurely shut down or murdered in organic terms, and it is up to some of this anicyte's old friends and colleagues to try to solve the murder. That is the premise. As you can see from this art, there is a lot of kind of like cyberpunky, like space noir themes going on here. Also just exploration into Avalon, striving especially. There's like an article about the city, and you get to learn more and explore those like locations, because it's that that deluxe experience and you're spending more time of gameplay. You get to focus on, you know, meeting NPCs and the investigations and intrigue aspects, as well as combat encounters and like skill challenges in this adventure.
Oh, who wrote this, by the way?
Oh yeah, somebody wrote this. I wrote this. So this is written by moi and developed by Mike Kimmel, one of our awesome colleagues who couldn't be here tonight. But shout out to Mike, and also to Dustin and Jessica, who are amazing members of the Starfinder team and have worked just as hard on bringing all of these things to you.
Yeah. So I don't know, if you find monsters with hardness or nuclear missile boats in this adventure, blame Jenny. Blame Jenny. Blame Jenny.
Just start a forum post, I guess, and I'll come take my. I'll learn from that one too, I guess. No, I have to joke about this because a long time ago, I put a tiny fighter. This was a Starfinder 1 adventure, Starfinder Society number 107, the Solar Sortie. And I sure did put these tiny fighters that had nuclear missiles on them. And Thirsty read over my milestone, because this was me as a freelancer, you know, years ago. And he's like, Jenny, we can't have the tiny nuke boats. And he brought them out against me one day in a home campaign. And then years later, he does this every time I have kind of a weird design decision. He uses it against me. So that's what that's about. So you can too, everybody. Just
we like having fun here.
We have fun here. We have fun.
So that's it, right? Like that's you know, we don't have anything else to talk about, right? Like there wouldn't be something else, you know. We've done the deluxe adventure. That's something new that we haven't done in Starfinder before. That was neat.
I don't know. I feel
that's
like
all we're doing, right?
There's I don't know though. Like people in the Starfinder community have been talking about that they want something for a really long time, and that it would be really cool if we had it. And like, I think we might actually have some news to share on that front. We're finally getting a Starfinder novel, everybody. Damn. Oh, snap! Damn. It's a Starfinder novel! Ah!
Okay. All right. This is... Oh, boy. So we are very pleased to announce Era of the Eclipse by Tim Pratt. Tim has done work with us here at Paizo before. I did not have the pleasure of knowing Tim before this process. I was kind of brought in early on back a long time ago, it seems, you know, oh gosh, a year ago, who knows, to help with the outlining and creation of a Starfinder novel. Because as some of you may know, we have a Pathfinder novel line that's on the upswing now that we've got God's Reign coming out, and we're doing other projects. Well, Era of the Eclipse is going to be a Starfinder novel. It's going to release alongside all of our initial product offerings. We are extremely excited for this. Tim did an amazing job in this Starfinder novel that, well, you know what? Let's go big, go home. This book talks about the gap. There, we're doing it. The biggest thing, you know, this gap. And unlike this book, there's words in this novel.
There are actually words.
There are actual words. But I guess the best way to put this novel is, you know, I come from a lot of different gaming backgrounds. I love a lot of different games, a lot of them science fiction-y, science fantasy-y. And one of the things I believe is really important is that you have novels that like enrich the setting and sort of give background that people want to see about the setting. Not just like other adventuring parties, which we've done in the past, but something that is like, let's talk about some meaty stuff in the setting and give players a bit more. So on the cover here, you will see Tyrcell, who is the android there. And Tyrcell wakes up on Absalom Station the day after the Gap. And throughout this novel, we will have an entire story arc. In fact, the majority of the novel takes place the days immediately after the Gap, and what that was like to live through, what was going on. You'll notice there is a Hell Knight on the cover. We might be going into some lore about the creation of where maybe certain Hell Knights came from after the Gap. We have some new Hell Knight orders in Starfinder. You will see that there's maybe a hint in the title. Are we going to know what caused the Gap? Are we going to learn more about the Gap? Well, we're certainly going to learn a lot more about the Gap, and maybe end the book with a big surprise that will get a lot of people talking, I'm hoping about. But that's not all. This book actually takes place in 2 timelines. So whilst we're going to have Tyrcell's adventures in the past, we're also going to follow 2 other characters in the modern Starfinder era. Our iconic Chick and Day, who we showed previously, our iconic Mystic and our iconic Solarian, as they become junior Starfinders, and maybe are digging into the history and what happened to Tyrcell here, and some of the things going on there. Yes, that's a Hell Knight. Yes, so we're very, very excited for this. I have read through this book approximately twice now, and I love it. There's some
I read it. It's really good.
Yeah. This is going to be something you're going to be able to add to your immense cart with everything that we have been showing off, because oh my gosh, there's so much we're releasing. But I guess we've talked about a lot of these releases. Oh, there's one other thing. It's not even on here. Good Lord. You know what we haven't talked about? We haven't talked about the Infinity deck.
Oh my goodness, we didn't. Oh, somehow we didn't even think about that. But oh gosh, the Gap must have gotten us again. It's the Gap. Yes. So we have. Oh my gosh, we have another really exciting tie-in to bring to you, which is the Infinity deck. We have from. We have from Paizo Games a brand new game that ties into Starfinder. It is actually an item that you can find like in the game lore, as well as an item that you'll now be able to purchase and use to play a variety of different games.
Yes.
This deck is essentially, it comes with a card deck with some awesome, space Starfinder themed suits on it. And it has rules for several different games that you can play using these cards. And we are going to probably be supporting that with maybe some future games that you can use, because this is the Infinity deck. It is the item that people use during the Gap, during this time that our friend Tyrcell, who you're going to get to read about in the novel, was bopping around Absalom Station and, dealing with the chaos and like getting into all kinds of adventures. People were coming together and they had these decks and they didn't know what to do with these cards. They didn't remember everything. So they started getting together as communities and making up games. And this is all about, so the Infinity deck is all about just sharing different games with friends. And we hope that giving you that tool is not only just something you can play like on a board game night, you don't feel like dragging out the whole Starfinder, the maps and getting out the minis.
Abandons you. You need to play something else.
Yeah, the GM can't, the GM's had a real busy week and is like, guys, I didn't prep. I'm so sorry. That's the night, you break out the Infinity deck. You can just like try out the games. You could even, we hope that you could even do this in character. Like you could have maybe an in-character gambling session. And there is a gambling game that is in this Infinity deck that you could use at the table instead of just a vid game lore, gaming lore check, gambling lore.
And this is a 65 card, like very premium card stock. We'll be showing previews of this in the future, but this is like a really ritzy, high quality product. It has 4 different games inside of it, but this is also going to be something you're going to be able to like have as a accessory for your games of Starfinder. I maybe know 1 or 2 players who likes to be a card dealing gambler, and maybe this would be a perfect accessory for those characters.
I think it would be.
All right. Any questions, anybody? We got any questions? Got a couple of minutes to chat here. Any questions from chat? We've talked about a lot, by the way. So I'm just seeing here. Oh yes, and it is by Infinity Deck is by Jason Keeley and Joe Piscini. Joe being part of our Paizo Games division here, and then Jason Keeley coming in to help out from our Rules and Lore team. So very, very epic.
And familiar names for those of you remembering our Starfinder team alumni. So that's pretty cool to have them back in space with us.
Is this deluxe adventure going to be a new line of products? Well, we'll see. We'll see how people react to it. We're gonna try it. We're trying some new things out and seeing how they go. Any of the more out there classes from SF1? Absolutely, we are interested. Again, we're gonna kind of hit the staples. We got Technomancer and Mechanic coming, as we mentioned earlier. So we're gonna see Mech rules. Well, now Jenny's in charge of the team, so it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
We'll probably have to get starships first, though. Tactical starships are probably first priority, but don't worry, mechs will happen.
Yeah,
at some point.
Will there be a beginner box? I mean, that we aren't announcing it here, but there's always the opportunity, and I mean, certainly it would make sense. So.
I also saw earlier, will there be an audiobook for the Era of the Eclipse novel? And yes, there will be an audiobook.
Will there be narrative? Will narrative starship combat be the default for SF2? I think default's a bit of a loaded term here. Narrative, the cinematic starship scenes that we have in GM Core that we talked about. I think that's gonna be the default for while it exists. We might, like any subsystem, we might do when we release tactical starship combat, we might have a whole adventure path that supports it. For organized play, we're not talking about organized play yet, but certainly that's in the minds of people as we're working on that. So, yeah. Adventure paths, range centric. How did we adjust the game? We went through a lot of feedback. I will tell you that we went through a lot of feedback, and we learned a few things. First of all, there were several times where people would give us the exact opposite type of feedback, typically in a row. So as we were going through feedback in our tests, it would be like, you should feel bad and I curse your family line for doing this. And then the next piece of feedback would be like, I love that you did this.
I'm naming my first child after you.
Yeah, exactly. But there are certain things that we made changes and we adjusted things. We don't want to go into too many specifics on what has changed. I will say a few things. One of the things we looked at was like Solar Shot for the Solarian was an area that we thought was a bit lacking and maybe deserved to, I don't know, get some upgrades alongside, your solar weapons, some things like that we were looking to amp up some of that. If people are looking for like, oh, what raw damage upgrades did you give? Can I just get dex to damage on guns? We haven't done quite anything like that, but you'll see that all the classes have a fair number of new options available to them that are very exciting. I think, just from going through the playtest, some of the stuff we ended up on simplified some of the classes or made some of the classes a bit more just easier to run. That was the big thing. A lot of our testing was like, what are we going to do here? Not to mention when we include things like the archetypes and other things in the book. We're getting to a point where I think, we'll start talking about specific changes as we get close. But we're also still a couple months away, everybody. So just hold. We'll have answers.
I know it's hard. Yeah. And I know it's hard to wait because we haven't given, just we've given you a little bit. I know it's all teasers, but we do have so much coming and more that we were planning. So don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're coming to the end, I think. Zoran the Wizard wants to know if there'll be a Gap 2.0 book. Maybe it's this book. Who knows? Maybe it was that book all along. What book? What's going on? Where am I? I don't know.
I don't know where I am anymore. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I do know one thing, though. Okay.
What do you know?
What I know is, do you really think we'd end there, chat? Do you like all of our viewers? Do you really think that this is all we had to show you? Okay. In the infamous words of, people out there doing these presentations all the time, we have one more thing. We haven't forgot about adventure paths. We haven't forgot about bigger adventures. And we know that there's going to be stuff you want to do with all those first level characters that's maybe not in a deluxe adventure. So we've got some plans, and we're going to talk about this in the future, but we have some plans and we have some adventure content that we will be announcing. And let's just say that, maybe having a weird adventure, exploring some of the setting's darkest secrets, well, that might require some items, right? Right, Jenny?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're an adventurer, items. You're going to have some loot to find or a
bobblehead.
A bobblehead.
Just a bobblehead.
Just a weird
everybody.
Bobblehead.
We're gonna talk more about all of this in the future, but don't rest assured there's still more to come. There's more announcements. There's more coming on. We have organized play. We have whatever that adventure is. We haven't even really dived into Alien Core. We have a lot coming. So buckle up. The next few months are going to have the floodgates are going to open. We are so excited for everything that we are doing here. Jenny, is there anything else you want to shout out before we wrap this up?
I just want to say stay tuned, because there's really a lot coming out and a lot more announcements that we'll have, as we enter con season, like Paizo Con in the spring and then Gen Con in the summer as these releases come out. But I'm just really excited to kind of step up to, I guess, my turn in the captain chair with my trusty former captain is still here on speed dial, thank goodness. And a really awesome team is here with me. So I just also want to give them another shout out. Jessica, Dustin, and Mike couldn't be here tonight, but they are such an important part of Team Starfinder. Oh, and we are looking for one more member of Team Starfinder.
Yes.
So if you're a game designer, game writer, and you're kind of interested in that, maybe come over to paizo.com/careers and apply. Maybe you can be our new star friend.
Please come join the team.
We'd us. But yeah, seriously looking forward to the release and to just getting more exciting Starfinder stuff out there. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you all. We look forward to talking to you more about the future in the future. For all of your things, please stay tuned on Paizo.com. Check out the Starfinder space, and we look forward to hearing from you on social media and all other venues. We appreciate you, and we look forward to getting this new game out to all of you. It's going to be awesome. So with that, I have been Thurston Hillman, the associate publisher here at Paizo, and with me is
Jenny Jarzabski, creative manager of Starfinder.
Have a good night, all.
Good night, everybody. See you later.